Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about certain things that landlords should keep in mind while qualifying tenants for their rental apartments or rental house. Let me begin with the first thing, that is pre-screening questions. So right now the demand for rentals is extremely high in Ottawa, so it's very possible to see multiple applications for just one apartment, one rental place. Therefore, for landlords it's very possible that they'll get multiple applications for a single place that they're offering. In that scenario, it can be extremely hard to filter out multiple tenants or maybe just find the right fit for your particular place. Set up some pre-screening or pre-screening questions which you can ask all the prospective tenants to answer before you even go ahead with the process. For example, in the pre-screening question, you can ask them what kind of move-in date are they looking for. So if the moving date is like 3 months ahead of time and you are looking for a tenant which can occupy the place maybe next month itself, then that is something that would not really work for you. So you can just screen out the tenant right there and then. So it saves time for you and the tenants themselves. So that is something a landlord should definitely consider setting up. Next thing that the landlord should definitely look into before renting their place would be rental applications. So rental applications are something that provides you some personal details about the tenants, and you can sort of filter out certain things about them depending on what criteria you have for your own rental place. So they provide you with different references for their landlords, their previous rental history, even their employment place and their employment references. So you can then call those places and check for their history. So you can call the landlord, their previous landlord, and ask them if what kind of tenants were they, if there was any maintenance issue with the property, if they caused any kind of other trouble. So that is something that is worth doing, and it's an extremely important step. And that rental application itself can include the references for employers as well. Next would be the credit check, the credit report, maybe you can call it. So this is something that anyone can build on Equifax, and you can ask your prospective tenants to provide you with that report, and you can decide if their credit score is good or not. Now, just the credit score itself does not really tell a lot about a person, because if a person has just one small debt and they pay it on time, it's very possible that their credit score is really good. So that is something that is not by itself a short criteria to say, okay, this person is doing financially well and hence would be paying you the rent on time. So credit score should be coupled with some other things that can help you make that decision of qualifying particular tenants easy. Then you should definitely verify the employment, income, and their pay stubs. You can ask the prospective tenants to provide you with their employment letter and probably the paychecks from last 3 months to check if they have a continuous stream of income and would it be possible for them to pay the rent. As a rule of thumb, it's considered that a person should make 3 times income as their rent. So for example, if the rent is $2,000, then a person should be making at least $6,000 as gross income per month. Next, so as per the rental application, it is very possible that the tenant, the prospective tenant, would have mentioned previous landlord's contact or any other information. Sometimes a lot of tenants also add landlord recommendation letter in their application. So just to make their case a bit stronger, it is extremely important for a landlord to contact the previous landlords to ask if that person was able to maintain the property well, if there was any trouble with their rental payments or any other issues that might have been caused by that tenant. So that gives you an idea about what kind of tenant or what kind of a person are you dealing with. So that kind of credit check from the landlords, like the previous landlords, is extremely important to do. Next, use standard forms of agreement. So you can find all those agreements for Ontario specifically on public websites. I will provide a link to a lot of references in this description of this video, so you can refer to them. But the reason it's important is because the Residential Tenancies Act requires a lot of things from landlords as well as tenants in terms of their roles and responsibilities. For some reason, one person just drafts their own agreement. It is very possible that that would be incompliant to the certain standards of that act. Therefore, to ensure your own compliance, it's recommended that you use the standard forms of agreement, and that can help you in the long run. And last point, Now, just to provide a little bit of overview, landlord and tenants disputes or any kind of issues are resolved by Landlord and Tenant Board here in Ontario. So if you have any trouble with any tenant, that is the place you'll reach out. Now they provide a lot of references and a lot of resources for both tenants and landlords to look into. So I will add the description of those resources here, like the Guide to Residential Tenancies Act, which is like a short form of the guide. It's a long act, but the highlights of those acts are basically mentioned in that particular resource. And other than that, you can also see different kinds of forms which are available on their website, and you can use those in your journey as a landlord when you are dealing with tenants. That's one. And the last thing I really wanted to mention is another online resource, which is a website called OpenForm. That has something that provides like public records of court orders, and anyone can sort of see them, and it gives you an idea of what kind of court orders are issued against tenants or maybe landlords in a lot of disputes, and you can gauge like this is the issue that other landlords are facing, and that kind of basically helps you to plan better to avoid certain scenarios which could have been avoided. That is something I keep referring to every now and then, just to see like what's going on in the area in the rental market, and if there has been any other updates that any issues I can avoid, then I would avoid. So that is I would say the wrap up. So please look for these resources in the description, and yeah, be careful when you qualify tenants. Anything that you might miss can really cause you trouble in the long run. So I would say just do all the steps, and as you feel okay, this is the right person for your rental place, then go ahead with them. Thank you.